Hi guys. Okay, another one of my horrible looking videos. Sorry about that. Well, I guess I'm maybe a little lazy. Technically I should get my camera fixed, but instead I just make them on the YouTube, or rather on the webcam. Okay, this is another video about exercising with milk containers. As you may know, I'm quite interested in milk. I've been living on milk for about 8 years. So I drink close to 2 gallons or 7 liters a day of milk and hardly eat or drink anything else. But I've also done a fair amount of exercising with the milk containers, and I put other videos on my channel about it, but I would say as I do it more, I get better at it and get more ideas about it. So I just share more about it. So here is a milk container. This is a gallon here in the US. You can see I've got it kind of bent up. And actually the colors, well, also I occasionally do put other food in my milk containers. The red you're seeing there, it's actually a product. It's a product actually that gives you vitamin C. One thing about cow milk is it doesn't have vitamin C, and I was finding that maybe it would be good to add some. So that's what that is. Anyway, basically with a milk jug, I'm just sort of letting myself kind of be creative in different ways that I hold it or move it around. So for example, so now I'm holding it with one hand. You can't see my thumb, but it's back there, and that's a pretty easy hold, right? That's become quite thin right there, so there's no problem of gripping it. Now there I've sort of gripped it a little differently, right? That's kind of like a long grip. That's a little more difficult. Now I could sort of rotate it around. Now I've moved my hand down to the bottom and I'm gripping it. Now of course when you do these in real life, it's a little more flowing and well, flowing. What do I want to say about that? But there are more difficult grips. Well, let's see, I'm trying to find a more, as you work it, you'll find that there are more difficult grips. Now that one, let's see, that one isn't so difficult, but I've kind of found a place to put my thumb. It's kind of hard because it wants to slip. The fingers up top want to slip off. As you kind of clench it, it wants to fall out of your hand. So that maybe, well, all these exercises are pretty good actually. It's kind of interesting to exercise with milk jugs because it makes you think about what people do in gymnasiums. And I think people in gymnasiums try to lift bulk, 100 pounds, 200 pounds, and strengthen up their arms. But I don't know if gym work actually strengthens your hands. Whereas my experience has been that working with the jugs actually strengthens your hands, and that's kind of useful strength because as you go about your day you do lots of things with your hands, and when you've exercised them, which I'll just sit as I'm watching TV, I'll just have my jugs and I'll just have them next to me or down on the floor, and I'll be holding them different ways and just kind of constantly really moving my hand over them and finding different grips and kind of moving them around. It's a little hard to find a difficult grip because I'm kind of constrained to showing you the jug right up here in this space. And some of those grips, well, let me put sometimes you can find a more difficult grip when you put it down on the floor. I'd like to find one just so I can show you. You probably get the idea. Yeah, I mean, this is another one that I do a lot where I kind of put, well, in this case my thumb is actually down in the nozzle, and this is kind of this can be an interesting one. You put your finger in the nozzle and it kind of lodges inside there, and then you just start moving it around. That's my thumb actually. Or if you put your finger in, now this looks kind of easy, but actually, unless you're used to it, you'd have to kind of get used to it. The finger is right there, and it's used kind of as a lever. Now I can move the outside finger up, and you have to accept that when you use it as a lever, there's that finger inside, there's some pressure right there. You're keeping the finger straight and kind of using it to lift the jug up and down. I think maybe it kind of strengthens that finger. Well, you may, let me see, maybe if so if I blow that, it kind of loses some of those funny creases and such. Let's see if I can, now that's a difficult grip. In that case, oh gee, the thumb, where is that thumb? It's kind of hard to show you that thumb. That might be a little more difficult because the thumb is barely right in there, and it kind of wants to slip up around there. So you kind of have to tune in to how to keep it from slipping up. Even that's not real hard, because if you just tighten it, push in with the thumb, you'll get a little better grip. But all these things give you a chance. Your hands do, when you do these, you become better able to use your hands for like leverage on the things you're going to pick up. I even notice that with my keyboard when I'm typing, which of course you use your hands to type, there were times when in the past I might have, if I needed to press a button, I might move my hand a little to get to the key I need, because I wanted to make my hand feel more comfortable. But actually, when you get used to sort of stress on your fingers, then you can actually move to different keys without moving your whole hand and press them, even though it feels like there's a bit of stress on that finger you're using to press. But now that you've exercised, you're used to that stress, and you accept it. You press the key and then put the finger back to the comfortable position. I don't know if you know exactly what I mean, but yeah, I think you might have an idea. But anyway, it does help you use your hands more sort of efficiently, because your fingers get more dexterous, so you don't have to move your whole hand around. Your fingers can do more things without moving the whole hand. Now, occasionally for variety, I do stick the jug in my mouth, kind of, swing it around. I might even, put the thing on my head and kind of see if I can balance it up there. Right now, I'm a little limited because I have to I'm trying to keep my head in view on the video, but that's good for your body awareness, you know, if you become more able to balance things. Oh, that's an interesting one where you're sort of holding it up from the bottom. But that's not a great strain, but if you've never done it before, it might take you a bit of practice to get skillful with that. And then another thing I've been looking for is ways to use these exercises on my stomach. That one I haven't done too well. The only one I found is to just simply put it on my stomach and then push in and out with my stomach. But I'll get some better ones on the stomach, I think. Anyway, they're really fun, actually. They sound a little, you know, academic or clinical when I describe them to you here, but when you actually do them, they're pretty fun. So that's sort of the idea. I mean, there's nothing, I don't know if there's anything magical about jugs. I mean, you could do this same stuff. Well, one nice thing about jugs is they do sort of collapse a little bit as you grip them. So that lets you find different angles and different kinds of grips on them. You might not be able to do that with a typical exercise like a barbell. It doesn't change. It's just a really solid, hard piece. Anyway, that's more or less the idea. I mean, you can look for my other videos where I kind of lift the thing with my feet and toes and stuff. But that's more or less the idea. So if you have fun with them, if you discover anything new, let me know. If you think of new ones for the stomach, let me know. And thank you.